Hi everyone, I'm continuing my post and my talking on. Today I'm doing the book of not the book, I'm pulling out the story of Rahab from the book of Joshua in the Bible. And Rahab was a prostitute in the Bible. And basically it's looking at how she helped save the Israelites, the spies that were sent into the city. And because she saved them, her whole family was saved, and from the destruction that came out of that time, of that period. But when we look at when she saved them, there was a period of time that she had to wait before her and her family got saved. And they were told to basically stay inside, not go out. And they were told if they went out, their safety could not be guaranteed. So too, in our lives, there may be times where people taint us, where they treat us like prostitutes, where they put us down, where they want to befriend us when they are not married to us. And we have to hold our own. We have to be strong in our faith. We have to know that we are yoked to Christ. And we have to not give in to what other people are saying. Yes, it might hurt us, it might hurt our parents, it might hurt our mothers, especially if they've raised us the right way. When people have no respect for us and they even bring it into our churches, telling people that they like us after they spoilt our reputations, not in one firm, but in consecutive firms, like happened to me. We have to be prepared to stand our ground. So many people do not understand the Indian culture or the Muslim culture or the Asian culture. In our cultures, especially in the Goan culture, we do not take multiple husbands and wives. We do not have husbands and then have friends that we go around with or that we befriend. We might have family friends. We might have people that when we invite them over, we invite the whole family. But we do not accept a man going around telling the city of Toronto that he likes me, telling my pastor that he likes me, and taking legal action against me. That is not a friendship. That's basically treating me like a prostitute. And I am not a prostitute. So our stories also have beginnings, they have middle, and they have ends. And unfortunately for me, I'm very, very particular. Like, I don't like men touching me. I don't like people hugging me and all that. I'm very particular. And some people might say, oh, don't look down on others. Don't think you're better than others. I'm not. But I was not raised the way you were raised, so don't you look down on me. Respect how I want to be treated. And if you like men touching you and you want to sit on their lap or you want to do whatever, go right ahead and do it. Don't expect me to do it. And so the story of Rahab, it just shows how God worked in her life, even though she was a prostitute. Many women in that time, they did not have a trade like the men. They didn't go out fishing or they didn't go out of the home. They stayed in the home. And so if they didn't get married and they didn't have their own families, at that time, they became prostitutes. A lot of women today are doing it. If you look at the UK, if you look at a lot of places in the world, there's a lot of videos of women saying, oh, why not? If it pays the rent, why not do it? But I was not raised that way, and I don't believe it's the right way to live. So it's hard. When you're highly educated, when you're qualified, when you've got good skills and people take advantage of you, it's very, very hard. And it's very hard to be treated poorly and to be treated in a wrong manner. But I believe just the way that God worked in this woman's life, God can work in anybody's life. God can turn the light bulb on for these women and men that are being made into prostitutes. God can change our circumstances so that we get better wages and better salaries. God can let us work with people who respect us. Like where I work now, people are very respectful of me. The supervisors, the managers, they don't touch me, they don't do anything inappropriate. We might be earning poor wages, but they have a lot of respect for me, and I have a lot of respect for them. And that's the way it should be. When you work with people who are ungrateful, who don't appreciate the gifts you give, who don't appreciate you as a person, and then tell everyone they like you, that is not liking you. The same with people who say they've always been there for you, but they never visit you, they never call you, they never in your life. So how are they there for you? So in the same way, we have to look at our relationships, we have to look at where our values are coming from. And we always have to know that there's always hope. In the middle of war, in the middle of war times, when people like me cannot make our rent, we cannot buy food, we cannot pay for electricity, I wrote to my MP and I called her and I said, this Ontario electricity support, I said, for somebody like me, I hate to take it, but I can't afford, on minimum wage, I can't afford an electricity bill that's almost $100 a month. I do my laundry overnight. I do the washing and then the drying. I try to use the electricity at off-peak times. I unplug everything when I'm not using it. And it's still close to $100 a month. So now they've increased that amount. So anyone earning, I think it's going to be like under 50,000 is going to be able to apply for it. But I hate the fact that I'm so highly qualified and I have good skills and I have to take handouts from the government. I hate the fact that my taxes were not assessed correctly, and so now I'm spending over a year paying back that over $3,000 that I owe the government. Every month I pay a little bit down. Because of other people's mistakes, my life is suffering. I did everything right. I should have had a good job open up for me. I should have been in a permanent job. I should have been getting benefits, getting the travel, all these things. But instead I got to work with the most corrupt people on earth, and people like them. Wherever I go, oh, Eddie liked her, Eddie liked. Excuse me? What about me? What about what I feel? Do you even think about it? About how angry it makes me that I lost those opportunities, yet despite being very clear with Credit Suisse and being very clear and saying, I do not like him, I do not want to work with him, I do not want to be his friend, people till this day are bringing it in my face. Do you know how it affects my mental health? I don't like it. It's very, very disturbing. Very disturbing. The same thing when I had those chats coming through from supposedly Roger Federer and supposedly Novak. I know those initial chats with him. After that, it was probably the police and their lawyers trying to catch me, trying to make me seem like a prostitute. Because there is no way they could know when I logged off right after work. There's no way that they could know. Absolutely none. Unless they made an arrangement with the police and they somehow got it. But what they didn't bank on is I contacted the International Tennis Federation. I sent those chats to them. And I contacted Novak's Foundation in England. And Novak's Foundation was very grateful to me. They said, thank you so much for sending this to us and don't reply to them anymore. And then my Gmail got shut down. That U of T took away all our Gmail, so now we all on Microsoft. So I don't have that email anymore. I have the same email, but it's not powered or it's not on the Google, which meant I also lost all my photos, but I have a backup, so that's fine. So that's why now, even with all these other tennis players, maybe they like me. I saw Casper at the tennis when I went to watch. I won't reply to him because of what happened to me. And it's unfortunate because I like Casper. Even if they send me messages, I don't reply. Alexander Zverev is another one. Andy contacted me a long time ago to say, please don't stop being my friend, because he saw I started liking these other guys. I only used to like Andy's posts. And from a long time ago, when I saw him doing that tug of war kilt with his mom and one of the other players. So I just said, don't worry, I won't. But I didn't get to meet Andy. I wish I had gotten to meet him. But they spoiled my name. I was treated with the utmost respect in banking. People had a lot of time for me, a lot of respect for me, and they spoiled my name. And it's unfortunate. But all I can do is stand with people like Bono, like you two, stand with organizations that support women's rights, and keep fighting and keep applying for jobs. I don't know, maybe all my applications are going to the police for all I know, because I think it's ridiculous. And it's very hurtful to my mother that I get tracked everywhere I go. Even when I used to go to work for OBN Security, they used to treat me horribly. Those people at Tim Hortons, when they were serving me the coffee, they used to just chuck the donut at me. Or they used to take the coffee and fling it. And one of the white guys was standing there and said, hey, you treat her with respect. And the woman said, we didn't do anything. And they said, no, we saw what you did. You treat her with respect. So, and that's what I miss about South Africa. I miss that we were like, the Dutch people have a very close community, and that culture has stayed in South Africa. Whether it's the Xhosa, the Zulu, whatever, we have a community where we are welcomed, where you are never alone. And when my feet touch that ground in South Africa, I'm home. I'm home. I don't have that anywhere else, not even in Zimbabwe. In Zimbabwe, people will make their own plans and leave me hanging and say, hey, I got my family, I got this, I got that. Not in South Africa. That would never happen to me. So it's different. South Africa became home for me. And only when I'm with the Harrys or when I went to visit Auntie Carmen, people from Kwekwe, it's different. But outside of Kwekwe, they're all the same. They'll leave me hanging and they'll say, hey, make your own way. My brother's coming, or I've got this, or I'm going to my sister. And then I would be left stranded. So I'm glad I didn't go back to Zimbabwe to live, because I wanted to go, because I couldn't get any work here. For months and months and months, almost 2 years, I couldn't get a long stretch. At least before that, I had contracts in between, 3 to 6 month contracts. But you can ask anyone at the banks. You can ask CIBC, you can ask BMO, you can ask HSBC. My teams had a lot of respect for me, and everyone was upset with what was happening to me. But if it's the police, I hope they don't try it again. Because if it was them, I hope they get caught. Because as far as I was concerned, everything was over, and I didn't do anything wrong, and I moved on. And then all this drama started again. And even with Roger Federer, now that I know that he's friends with the royal family, I'm not going to get involved. I won't. Because people were talking here in the condo, oh, Zara also likes him, this one. Whatever I do for the tennis players, I do not want my family involved. And they do not want the extended family involved. When Roger came to me, he made that very, very clear. But other people always want to get involved, and now it's spoiled. It's spoiled now. I don't want people interfering in my life. I don't interfere in other people's lives. When they help their children to buy homes, to get properties, to get an education, they don't do it for me. They do it for them because they love their children. If my dad was alive, he would have done it for me. So my dream was always that, oh, I'm going to help my niece and nephew. I'm going to help Amara and Jonathan. I'm going to buy my property, and then I'm going to help them to get an education, to get property, to come up. That was my dream. I'm not like my uncles. I'm not like them that say, we did it on our own, now you go and do it on your own. Because that's exactly what they told me. And my dad's cousin told me, don't you dare say anything about the family. I'll cut all ties with you. I told him that's fine. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just telling the truth. that unfortunately my life didn't turn out that way. At least not now. Maybe I'll be able to get back on the property ladder and by some miracle be able to help Saskia and Megan. I don't know. But if I get an opportunity to leave Canada and make the kind of money I want to make, I'll go. Not to America, because I'm disgusted with the Americans. But if there's an opportunity to go somewhere else and to work there and to be treated with dignity and respect, I'll go. I'll go. I don't mind going. And Father Larry would be very happy for me. Because it's not easy doing this job that I've been doing for 5 years. My ears, by the time I finish at the end of the day, my ears are sore. My throat is sore. Sometimes I cry. It's so painful. I don't take Tylenol too often because I don't want to end up addicted to it, but it's very painful. And it's not only me that suffers with it. Most of us who are at Teleperformance are there because we can't get anything else. We can't get better wages. We can't get better opportunities. And they know it. It's not like I'm knocking the company. I'm not. They know it. Because most people want better wages. They want better benefits. They want a retirement, a pension. They know it. There are better campaigns like Google and things. They pay over $50,000. But unfortunately, ours doesn't. We are paid the least out of all the assignments that there are. Ours is paid the least. So that's how it is right now. But I count my blessings. And I hold myself with dignity because I'm not a prostitute. And I never ever prostituted myself. Whether I was in South Africa or England or Zimbabwe, I was always treated with respect. And I was always treated with consideration. When we were coming out of the church, when Father Larry was telling everybody that Credit Suisse was saying that they liked me, my mother was crying. She was in tears. It's not fair to me. But anyway, that's one part of my life. I had a lot of other opportunities before that. I think it's unfair that just because of Christine and just because of their money and their power, I lost so many opportunities. It's very unfair. And even all those calls that come through when I hear them, it's very unfair because it's very upsetting to me. I don't deserve it. I wrote to a lot of people to ask for help. Not just the foundations, not just one campaign or the Federer Foundation. I wrote to the Presleys. I wrote to a lot of people to ask for help because I don't have any money. And I'm trying my best to get a better paying job. So I sure hope that this is not the end of the story. I hope that things change for me and that all the education I've invested in pays off because nobody told me to do it. I did it because people told me before I came to Canada, you're going to have to retrain, you're going to have to requalify, you're going to have to get Canadian credentials. So before I even came, I found out what I had to do. I found out from Rotman what I needed. I fought to get into Rotman. Because they told me without the Canadian credentials, you're not going to get anywhere. It's the first step. You have to get Canadian credentials. The same thing with John Maxwell. My friend Joe told me, you don't have to make money from it, but take it because the Americans are very hard on people. She said, maybe it will help you in your work. So that's why I did it. There's a lot of people in John Maxwell who have children with severe disabilities, or they've had severe financial problems. They've been let go from jobs. They've lost everything. They've been living out of cars, and they've used it to turn their lives around. So it's not a marketing scheme. It's not a money-making scheme. If you're willing to learn, you can learn. If you don't want to learn, stay ignorant. It's very hard dealing with people that are ignorant. I can tell you that. It's very, very hard. But anyway, that's Rahab's story and how she helped the Israelites. And I've stood with Israel. I've always stood with Israel. And I think it's good that the Palestinians are getting the help and the aid and all that they need. But I've always stood with Israel. Even my first WITS event that I organized here in Canada, it was the Jews that supported me and that came out. And there was one black couple that came out. Nobody else came out. So we make choices in life, and I've made good choices, but I've had rotten fruit. And I deserve better, and I know it. My faith will not be broken. If that's what the end goal is, it will not be broken.